for national liberation and justice in our trade unionism in our country. Comrades, in many ways this is a phenomenal achievement, and COSATU should be proud of this achievement as it celebrates its 40th year of existence. This is a day you should be happy and proud that you have continued as an organization to exist for 40 years. We recall how workers were organized under the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, the ICU, which was formed among dock workers in Cape Town in 1919, which became the most popular organization in urban and rural areas in the 1920s. It produced a crop of militant African, Indian, and colored working class leaders. In the 40s, the African Mine Workers Union played a crucial role in the labor movement in South Africa, particularly with its involvement in the Great Miners' Strike of 1946. Leaders of the ANC and the South African Communist Party were intricately involved in the leadership of the union and its growth. We remember very clearly top leaders of the alliance like J.B. Marx, who was a communist, who was an ANC leader, but also a leader of the African Mine Workers Union. And in the 70s, militant trade unionism continued to grow, with the workers' strikes in Natal, which were pivotal in highlighting the harsh realities that were faced by black workers in our country. And comrades, today we celebrate you, that in the 1980s, COSATU was formed following the various talks that were held. Some of us were there when COSATU was formed, and we're pleased that COSATU remains standing even today. COSATU quickly became one of the largest and most influential trade union federations in South Africa, playing a key role in the labor movement and in the struggle against apartheid. That, comrade, is an accolade that you should be proud of. That you, as COSATU, involved yourselves not only in the shop floor struggles of workers, you also involved yourself in the struggles of our people, and many of your leaders at shop floor level, right through to national level, became leaders that propelled our country to democracy. So it has been 40 years of militant action for a South Africa that is free from oppression and also dealing with economic exploitation. Like SACTU before COSATU, you worked with the ANC and the SACP, and with these two formations, you later forged the Strategic Revolutionary Alliance to work towards the realization of the National Democratic Revolution. And that, comrades, is something that stands out as something you as COSATU members you can be proud of. The ANC is determined to strengthen the relationship between the workers of our country and the ANC, but it is also determined to strengthen the strategic alliance that it has with COSATU with SANCO and the SACP, despite the many challenges that we face. We must therefore close ranks and unite and advance the national democratic revolution. Comrades, we stand at a time when, as alliance partners, we should all agree that the national democratic revolution premised on the Freedom Charter is our common program. We have important differences about the best way to pursue the NDR, but these are not insurmountable differences. They can be overcome. Our collective history proves the strength of our unity. Working together, the ANC and COSATU scored tremendous victories for workers and the working class. The alliance between our four organizations has been able to make many advances. We secure the constitutional and legislative protection of workers' rights. The Federation, staying true to its commitment to concern itself with broader community issues, has also been instrumental in mobilizing for social protections. Much as many of your members are organized and are workers, you also championed the cause of unemployed workers, of unorganized workers, through advocating for the fulfillment of that aspiration which is set out in the Freedom Charter, a national minimum wage. And today, COSATU can be proud that amongst many other achievements, you have been able to achieve a national minimum wage, which is a foundation to move the working people of our country towards a living wage. In the recent past, you worked together on campaigns to pass progressive legislation such as the NHI and the Bella Act. So despite court challenges to the NHI, we must continue to mobilize for the full implementation of universal quality health care for all South Africans, regardless of their ability to pay. Comrades, we will continue to work for progress in our country. We will continue to ensure that we advocate for policies that will increase employment in our country, reduce poverty, and eliminate inequality. We must link all this to the struggles that need to be waged. At the same time, we must continue to strengthen our organizations. Our organizations have gone through a weak period. Yes, the ANC continues to move towards renewal, but also to strengthen itself. It needs to strengthen its branches. And similarly, COSATU unions need to be strengthened. We need to broaden the membership of COSATU unions, like we did in the past when COSATU represented more than 2 million members. We should also continue to strengthen the South African Communist Party and also continue to strengthen SANCO. It is when the alliance is strong that we will be able to achieve great success in implementing the national democratic revolution. So, comrades, we thank COSATU for its invaluable contribution that has brought us where we are. Workers' participation has been very important in various initiatives. Recently, We also saw how you as workers participated in the meetings of the G20, where you raised sharp concerns about how the move to unilateralism in the international trade can lead to increased deregulation and an attack on labor rights. The declaration adopted at the G20 in many ways was also enriched by your participation as COSATU. And yes, much as others would like to erase the achievement of the G20, we know that South Africa's G20 process cannot be taken away. It cannot be erased. South Africa, and with your participation, was able to lead a very successful G20 that accounts for well over 80% of global trade. Comrades, today we celebrate you. We celebrate you because you have continued to be an impactful, influential trade union federation. And we know that you will continue to advocate not only for the rights of those who are organized, but to advocate for the rights of all our people. You are following in the footsteps of Elijah Bahai, Jay Naidu, Chris Dlamini, Maxwell Nkulu, and great union leaders like J.B. Marks, Moses Kotane, Vuyisile Mini, Ray Alexandra, in all that you do. Our foes, as always, are unemployment, poverty, and inequality. And we must continue with our tasks to deal with these foes. So, comrades, I want to say, let us all together work for an overwhelming victory in the forthcoming local government elections. Securing victory at the polls also means that COSATU will be part of the improvement of implementing the various decisions that will advance the NDR. Let us work for the unity of the alliance. The alliance continues to be critical to the pursuit and success of the NDR. We are going through tremendous, difficult period at the moment, but we are stronger together than apart. The principal unity of the alliance, comrades, remains paramount. When the decision was finally made 40 years ago to launch the mighty Federation of Workers, it was with the full knowledge that the road ahead was not going to be an easy one. But COSATU has met all those challenges head on. And now we call on you to continue, comrades, to struggle on all fronts, on the shop floor, and yes, in broader community struggles. Let us now call on the spirit and the strength of those who have come before us to meet the future that should herald a better South Africa and a better working environment for the workers of our country. We should continue with our slogan that an injury to one is an injury to all. Today I say, long live COSATU, long live the trade unions of COSATU, and we applaud the leadership of COSATU for continuing to lead this federation that we are all proud of for 40 years. And thank you, comrades. We may not be here in large numbers, but what I said to the president of COSATU and the General Secretary of the South African Communist Party that COSATU has a membership. It has a paid membership. And what we now need to do is to mobilize those members to continue with the struggle that will bring a better life for our people. I say, happy birthday, COSATU, happy birthday. Thank you, comrades.
Thank you very much, Comrade President. We are now going to take Uprasol to Soweto. Upratok was an Eastern. I know as a Press. Comrades, I'm informed that that issue of the ice cream in the cooler box has been resolved. Comrades are now allowed to bring their ice creams and ice pops. But those who are sitting in the buses can please come in. South African Communist Party, Amandla!
Amandla! Matla! Long live COSATU, long live! Long live the Alliance, long live! Forward to socialism, forward! Down with capitalism, down! Thank you very much, Deputy President Mike Shingage, fellow fighter. Greetings, Comrade President Zingiswa Losi of COSATU and Central Executive Committee members, Comrade President of the ANC, President Ramaphosa, Comrade President of SANCO, Comrade Richard, the leadership of the SACP, Comrade Thulas Ngesi and others, as well as NEC members of the ANC and of SANCO, our international guests, and our local leadership in the province of the Alliance, including Comrade Banyaza, our Premier, who welcomed us, and we say we continue to give you support in the midst of enemies that seek to destabilize the working government of Gauteng. We greet all of you, comrades present here, and the liberation movement, particularly from our region, especially from Swaziland, who are still struggling for democracy and peace in their country. On the basis of time, comrades, I will summarize our message. We will release it in full, but safe to say, this 40 years, comrades, that we congratulate COSATU for reaching is not just a date to tick off on the calendar. It is a measure of struggle that has shaped the destiny of this nation, our country. We stand here also in the place of Soweto, the place of fire, the place of courage, the place of sacrifice, where workers and young people together with our communities shook the foundations of the apartheid regime. It was in this street, comrades, that our communities and factories joined hands, and the system of apartheid learned a lesson that they will never forget, that when the working class organizes itself as a class, the world moves. 40 years ago at Carrisfontein in Durban, something historic happened to build a single powerful class-rooted trade union movement, rooted not in race divisions or in craft splits, not in ethnic lines, but in the principle of one industry, one union, and as well as under worker control. That moment, the founding of COSATU was not born from comfort. It was born from repression, burning orders, factory dismissals, and the blood of martyrs of the liberation of our country. And therefore, COSATU arrived not just as an office or a logo, but as a weapon in the hands of the working class that was forged in strikes, in the stayaways, in the boycotts, in the night schools and underground structures, and the open defiance of the apartheid regime to build this mighty federation to continue the liberation of our country. It is therefore befitting, comrades, that today as we celebrate, we also pay homage and honor those who paid the supreme sacrifice for the liberation of our country. That's why the poem by MZ Nzwakembuli must be properly understood and listened to. He mentioned many of our martyrs in this course leading to the formation of COSATU. We can say to COSATU, you did not struggle in vain. Countless of our communists as well participated in building a strong trade union movement. Comrade Ramaphosa went at length in this. I will not talk to this particular section. Safe to say, many of our giants of our movement, like Ray Alexander Simons and many others, were the iron backbone of the Food and Canning Workers Union, who organized the factory workers under most brutal oppressions. J.B. Marx and Moses Kotane organized the mines and became the conscience of our movement. Billionaire and others built the underground worker structures and paid for it with years in prison in Robben Island and others. Comrade John Kadimeng carried the spirit of SABC through exile, as was Elijah Pakai, the first president of COSATU, a communist mine worker whose courage shaped COSATU's character of fighting. Let us honor all others: Chris Dlamini, John Komomo, Violet Siboni, Connie September, Godfrey Oliphant. I saw these two seated up there, and many other founding cadres of our federation. The union, indeed, for us, has always been understood as a school of communism, fighting for a cause towards the ultimate ending of exploitation of workers, and therefore removal of capitalism, and establish a socialist system in which the wealth of society will be shared amongst the many, not amongst the few. Therefore, we can say, comrade, without fear of contradiction, that there's no socialism without the liberation of women, and there's no liberation of women without the end of capitalism in our country. Comrades, today we face a new class war. This class war wears different clothes. It speaks the language that is polite to the workers, and yet it is the same capitalist language that destroys our workers. Capitalism, comrades, is reorganizing itself in the current period of the 21st century. The battlefield, as we know it, is within the mass unemployment amongst young people, the failure in our municipalities because of austerity programs strangling schools and hospitals. The battlefield is in the privatization by stills through basic public infrastructure like water and electricity and the network industries. This, comrade, is not just the battlefield for the erosion of labor rights. This is not just even merely a debate. This is a class war. We must respond as workers equally and launch a war against exploitation and oppression by capital. Therefore, comrades, we also join the president of the ANC as well of SANCO in calling for unity amongst us. Our unity, comrades, must not be fictitious. It must be a unity of struggle, unity of common agenda of the National Democratic Revolution. The National Democratic Revolution, as we say, is facing serious challenges. At the moment, comrade, the divisions within the framework, within the alliance, is precisely about how we are implementing the National Democratic Revolution. Indeed, we have no choice but to find one another, to make unity not only a weapon, but the National Democratic Revolution, our program, as the central point of unity of our movement. Not neoliberalism. It is neoliberalism that is creating divisions inside the alliance. Because neoliberalism takes away what we have fought for commonly, what we have sacrificed for over the decades. It is therefore important, comrade, that the private sector today is attacking workers almost openly through casualization, labor brokering, union busting, whilst making huge profits and workers suffering. We have seen the attacks that those who are now launching this attacking from the private sector, they are wearing suits, they freeze vacancies and attack the public service and create themselves the alternative when they have also failed and are not accountable to the majority in our country. Therefore today, comrades, as we celebrate this major achievement by our federation, COSATU, we say continue to defend your rights continue to defend the living wage, your dignity. But we say defense alone is not enough. The moment to launch an offensive has arrived. The union that negotiates sometimes, as we know, under this crisis of capitalism, when you negotiate, you become even much more weakened. We need to launch a program of demands. In this program of demands, we must mobilize all of society. That is why the Communist Party is launching a conference of the left program in which all the left components in our society, irrespective of their political affiliation, must work together with the progressive forces, including in the alliance, to shape a new agenda, a new offensive, a new program of demands against capital, so that we can also defend the democratic government that is now sometimes giving in too much to the power of capital. And capital, when it's so powerful, it undermines even our own achievement. It is in this regard that we are expanding in our own communities what we call zones of working class control by challenging capital at the front line, in the workplace, in our communities, in the economy, in the state, through the People's Red Caravan. It is in this regard that the Conference of the Left is a battlefield of ideas and a program of action of the working class characterized by core demands. In this regard, comrades, we invite COSATU, which we appreciate that you are participating in the steering committee of the Conference of the Left, and other organizations, including our mother movement, the African National Congress, to join in this program of the Conference of the Left to continue to advance the struggle of the working class. Without battles, comrades, we cannot win victories. And our comrades in COSATU, Comrade President, as well as General Secretary Solipetwe, and the President of Nehau, we were together when we went to the Labor Court to defend the rights of community workers, defended even by the ANC manifesto. We have to take this battle, Comrade President, to the courts. And we appreciate comrades in the house for taking this question to the court. And ultimately last week, the Labor Court gave victory to workers. Community health workers will now be employed by government and will be available to provide healthcare services across our country. That's because of class struggle that was waged by the unions, even through the courts. Long live the fighting strike, might of the workers, long live. Forward to socialism, forward. Forward with the unity of the workers, forward. Thank you very much, comrade.
Mandla, Soweto. Thank you very much, comrades. I was told that I'm not allowed there because comrades, we are now going to take our president. But before that, let me announce that amongst the message of support we have received from international friends, we have also received one from John Kadimeng Foundation. We have also received from FEDUSA, our sister federation with whom we work well to bring unity of workers. Of course, Comrade President, we have also received other messages that were insulting us, to which we have responded. It was not a message of support, but was messages of ridiculing us. We welcome them because message to the workers of the country on this historic day of our celebration. Oma oshia lenhlangano hoba ne oyofakaza ngawe hoba ne oyofakaza ngawe hoba ne Oma oshia le COSATU Ubani ayofakaza ngawe Ubani azofakaza ngawe Uma ushia le nhlangano Ubani ubani Kazanga Uma Oshiha COSATU.
Amandla. Long live COSATU, 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 long live. Long live the South African Communist Party, long live. Long live the African National Congress, long live. Long live SANCO, long live. Malibongwe. Igama lamakhosikazi. Wathinta umama. Ngiyabonga Mongameli Comrade Mike Madala Shingange. Ndibulise kwisikhokelo seCOSATU, the national office bearers of the Federation. Ndibulise kwisikhokelo se-African National Congress, sikhokelwa ngumongameli waso, uPresident Cyril Ramaphosa. Ndibulise kwisikhokelo se-South African Communist Party, sikhokelwa ngunobhala waso, uComrade uSoli Mabaila. Ndibulise kwisikhokelo seSANCO, sikhokelwa ngumongameli waso, uComrade uRichard Mkhungo. Ndibulise kwisigqebe esiphezulu seCOSATU, mandibulise kubantu abayizalayo le organization, our former leaders, our founder leaders. Mandibulise kubasebenzi, the owners of the Federation of Elijah Bahai. Comrades, we are gathering here as workers of South Africa, the unemployed, the people of this country, the forgotten, the excluded, the marginalized, and the beating heart of COSATU. Comrade leadership, today we gather not just to celebrate, we gather to rise, we gather to honor the 40 years of our federation. 40 years of struggle, 40 years of sacrifice, 40 years where workers stood between tyranny and freedom, and workers refused to bow down. This federation leadership, born from the blood, born from the sweat, born from the stairways and solidarity, became a backbone of South Africa's democracy. Today, as we gather here in Dobsonville, we honor those who fought with empty hands but with full hearts, those who faced bullets and burns, those who buried comrades and returned to the picket lines in the next morning. This is your day. This is your history. This is your federation. As we honor the giants of our movement, let us not forget women who played a role in building this federation. There would not have been a COSATU that is strong if it was not for the women leaders who were there at Karasfontein Stadium in 1985 and said, we are part of this federation. We are not invited. We gave birth to COSATU. Today we must honor as we celebrate 40 years of COSATU, and we must celebrate 40 women who have built this federation. sithetha ngoConnie September, sithetha ngoGertrude Shope, sithetha ngoJoyce Phekane, sithetha ngoEmma Mashinini, sithetha ngoDora Tamara, sithetha ngoNeina Abrahams, nabaninzi abakhoyo in this generation who continue to work from the employer and go back home for the unpaid labor. Sithi siphakamisa imbokodo zethu eziphakathi kwethu namhlanje, sithi wathinta umama, wathinta imbokodo. Comrade leadership, this federation has fought and won the right to organize and bargain. We have fought and won maternity and paternity protection. We have fought and won for safer workplaces, for employment equity, for the national minimum wage, amongst many of our victories. Because workers built this country, workers defended the country, workers keep this country alive. Kufanele ke siphinde kwakhona sivumelane mongameli ukuba ayikho inkululeko epheleleyo negqibeleleyo xana kusekho uninzi lwabantu abangasebenziyo eMzantsi Afrika. Ayikho impumelelo egqibeleleyo xa abasebenzi bebhatalwa imali engabonakaliyo, xa abasebenzi bephuma beyokwakha umnotho woMzantsi Afrika babuye kodwa belambatha kuba imali abayibhatalwayo ngabaqashi ayomali ekwaziyo uba bathathe abantwana babasesikolweni. Sithi ayikho inkululeko enjalo. Yiloo nto iCOSATU xa sihlangene namhlanje sisithi kumelezekile into bangaba our unity becomes our priority as workers. Ithe i-Central Committee yeCOSATU ngoSeptemba kulo nyaka yathi umanyano lwabasebenzi ngamandla. Yiyo loo nto ke mongameli Mike Shingange sisitsho sisithi silapha namhlanje siyinihawu, silapha namhlanje siyidinosa, silapha namhlanje siyisamatu, siyisatu, siyipopcrew, siyisamu, siyi-NUM, siyisatawu, siyisaktu, siyisakhawu, siyisaspo, siyisepawu, siyi-afadu, siyi-Communication Workers Union, siyisayepu, siyipawusa, siyisatsawu, siyisatu, taxi drivers workers. Kodwa siphelelanga kuba kaloku iNUMSA ayikho, asiphelelanga kuba iFAW ayikho, asiphelelanga kuba i-football players azikho. Yiloo nto sisithi masibuyele ekhaya, masibuyele kwi-federation kaElijah Bharhayi, one industry, one sector, one union, one federation, one country. Asiphelelanga kuba i-popcrew ayikho. Siyabulela ke kubasebenzi boMzantsi Afrika, sifuna ukuthi kwabasuka ngamazwe ngamazwe, the international solidarity which is the character of COSATU. Thank you very much to workers of the world, because without you South Africa would not have received its independence and democracy. That is why we are an international trade union federation by our character. So we must be able to pledge our solidarity to our brothers and sisters in the SADC continent, in the African continent, and internationally. Xa ndizawuhlala phantsi mongameli, ndifuna ukuthi there is no freedom of workers in South Africa without the freedom of workers in Eswatini, in Zimbabwe, in Sudan, in Venezuela, in Palestine, in Western Sahara, in Lesotho, in Botswana. Yilonto namhlanje sisithi our strength is our unity. The freedom is what tied us together. To the alliance leadership, asithetheni ngazwinye, the African National Congress, the South African Communist Party, iSANCO, COSATU, let's go and agree on the modalities of how as an alliance we shall rise united to win the local government elections that are coming. We have to speak to the unity of the alliance. We must not allow ourselves to hand over what we have fought so hard for. Only the unity ka Joe Slovo, only the alliance ka Nelson Mandela, ka Winnie Madikizela Mandela, i-alliance ka Chris Dlamini, i-alliance ka Chris Hani, i-alliance ka Walter Sisulu. Kufuneka siyazi ukuthi it is about our unity that will make the difference. Again, the alliance must lead to society as we cleanse ourselves. Kanhlala phansi ndithi, long live to the unity of workers in South Africa, long live. Long live to the next 40 years of COSATU, long live. Malibongwe. Ndiyabonga mongameli.
Viva COSATU, viva! Thank you very much, Comrade President. Are we ready for Makazi? Are we ready for Makazi? Are we ready to see Galekeke? Makazi on the stage, Makazi on the stage. Makazi Borine. To the stage, please.